Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. She's been in office just about a year, 11 plus months, since she was elected last fall. Mayor, one slight hiccup you've had since becoming the city's top executive was a brief sort of public spat you had with Sheriff Darren Hall. First, he felt disrespected because your staff erroneously listed him as reporting to you rather than being an elected official. Then there was a quarrel about the renovations to be done and the extra prisoners to be housed out in Antioch, along with when they have to go out there because the current downtown criminal justice center jail is going to have to be redone too. Then there was a question about where to put the administrative office. He wants to put it out in Antioch. You thought the community ought to be involved in that and maybe put it downtown. You two had lunch. Things seem to get worked out. You're still meeting, you tell me?
Absolutely. Sheriff Hall and I had a meeting earlier this week to talk about progress on this. The last prisoners will be gone from the downtown site by the end of this month, and we'll start that new construction on what will be, I think, a really modern and great facility. I mean, everybody agrees that facility needs to go, and Sheriff Hall is committed to making sure that the community process works and that the headquarters goes where the community wants it.
So at this point, it appears the administration building that the sheriff wants to build, the new one, will be downtown, or will it be in Antioch where he wants it?
Oh, no, I think that that's a TBD, and that's a community conversation, and the sheriff is absolutely willing to have that conversation.
And the use of the facilities around where the DeBerry jail is right now at Antioch, there was some question about those soccer fields and other things not being used for security reasons.
Soccer fields we put the upgrades that needed to be put out there so that the soccer fields can stay open and that can still stay a public park with a dog park and a greenway. There's a greenway through there, and then
the council has kind of gotten involved to the point of saying, passing a resolution or something that basically says you two work this out before anything.
Well, what they said is that they want community engagement, and the sheriff's committed to that, and I've always been committed to that.
Let's talk a little bit about an issue that was beginning to come up nationally while you were running for mayor, and that was sort of the growing racial tension, particularly between police and some members in the black community. A lot of the shootings that were going on, we'd already had Ferguson by the time you were running last year, but now we've had the incidences in Dallas and Baton Rouge, and we've had some of the terrorist events that have gotten involved in it as well. Nashville has been blessed with not having to deal with those, although we've had several large demonstrations which have been handled very well by both those demonstrating and by the police department. But are we just one miscalculation or one mistake, one bad situation where the training wasn't followed, that we could be in the same position some of these other cities have been in?
Well, I mean, I think you always plan for the worst and hope for the best, and our police department under Chief Anderson is full of men and women who have been trained. I mean, what makes us different than other cities is that we actually do have the bias training that is recommended from the national report. We do have all of this training that is very specific, and so when our police are out on the street, they're engaging in the community. I saw that the other night when we were out for a night out against crime, and you've got police officers and the community coming together, and that's really what Nashville does.
You're trying to get an ongoing dialogue on race, social equality, and community leadership. You had one meeting among community leaders. You've got another bigger meeting set for the entire public to be invited to in September. Is there an end, what we'll know in September, or is this the beginning of a long and extended dialogue that we're not necessarily going to see specific milestones?
Well, I think that this is a long conversation that we've been having for years and years, and my goal is to just continue to move in the direction of things that address racial equity and justice, and this is all tied to education and housing and transportation, all the things that we're already talking about. But I do want to give a plug for that meeting. It's in September. It's September 10th. We want 1,000 people down at the Music City Center. Parking will be free, and if you want to come, we'd love for you to sign up. So go to the Nashville.gov website and sign up.
Sometimes the Black Lives Matter leadership don't seem to be ready to join into some of these discussions. Are you having conversations with them to make sure they're part of this 1,000 folks that are going to be there and other discussions that are going on?
Everybody's invited. In fact, the meeting that we did a couple weeks ago, Black Lives Matter did come for part of that. They also had a protest outside. So, I mean, I think what all forms of expression are what make Nashville different.
Sometimes the proof and the progress of this are actual results. So the number of arrest numbers in Nashville, almost twice as many African Americans are arrested than whites, even though they're not twice the population in Nashville. Also, the number of police officers that are African American is higher than some cities, but perhaps not close to what they are in the population here. Those are areas that you need maybe some quick results about that as well.
Well, and I think let me talk about the hiring component first, because I think that's actually a reflection across all of Metro government. And I hired a chief diversity officer who started a couple months ago, and right out of the gate, that's one of her tasks, is to make sure that Metro government looks like Nashville. So to be out there actively recruiting and retaining police officers and folks who work in the fire department and in the public service areas to look like Nashville.
And there's a way to do that you don't start getting into quotas or something like that.
Absolutely. This is about, first of all, just having the pipeline talent pool that looks like Nashville, so that you can do those interviews to actually identify folks who are highly qualified who can come to work for Metro.
One thing that grew quite a bit during the campaign was a concern about youth violence. You held a number of meetings. You've had a report, a task force that put together, came out with specific recommendations. What progress are you making in that
Well,
area?
we've moved on several of those, but I think the most significant one that you're going to see is the initiative that we are launching on putting 10,000 youth to work, and that's going to be next summer, and it will be youth from age 14 to 24 in paid, meaningful internships, and that's going to require the entire community to come together to make sure those jobs happen.
Mayor Berry, congratulations on your first year. Thanks for being willing to come out here on the show as frequently as you have, and we'll look forward to having you here in the future.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you can be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.